5 matches, 5 wins, 5 goals, 4 assists. A 33-year-old man playing the best football of the entire tournament. In Part 2, Maradona dismantled Bulgaria in a 5-goal thriller, survived Mexico in a match that had no right being as tense as it was, and then destroyed Spain so completely that neutral fans were applauding just to have something to do with their hands. Argentina have not lost a single match. Maradona has not had a single bad game. And now one match stands between him and a World Cup final. But here is the problem. The team standing in his way is not Greece. It is not Nigeria. It is not Mexico or Spain. It is Italy. Roberto Baggio's Italy. And that changes everything. Because while Maradona has been rewriting history on one side of the draw, Baggio has been doing exactly the same thing on the other. Against Bulgaria. Against Germany. Match after match. Moment after moment. Italy looked lost. Italy looked beaten. He has carried this team on his back through an entire tournament. Goals when they needed goals. Moments when they needed moments. A player so important to Italy's survival that you could remove every other name from their squad and they would still be dangerous as long as Baggio was on the pitch. He is currently the top goal scorer in the tournament with 7 goals. In real life, he carried Italy all the way to the final. In our timeline, is he about to do exactly the same thing? And now he stands here, one match away from another World Cup final, one match away from completing his own piece of history. But so does Maradona. Think about what this match actually means. 2 of the greatest players to ever play the game. 2 men at completely different stages of their careers. Baggio at his absolute peak. Maradona on the final pages of his story. 2 nations with history between them. Argentina knocked Italy out of Italia 90 on this exact stage, on penalties, in this exact format. Italy have not forgotten that. Baggio has not forgotten that. And Maradona, if he knows one thing, knows that this is the hardest match he has faced in this entire tournament. 1 place in the final. 1 of them goes through. 1 of them goes home. The semi-final begins now. The 2 teams walk onto the pitch. And for a moment, nobody moves. Nobody speaks. The stadium just watches. Because everyone in that ground understands what they are looking at. Italy line up in their familiar 4-4-2. Organised. Disciplined. Built on 30 years of defensive tradition that has suffocated better attacks than Argentina's. Paolo Maldini, the greatest left back in the history of the game, a defender so complete that forwards have retired careers early simply from having to face him too many times. He looks focused, not nervous, not excited, focused, the way a surgeon looks before an operation. Next to him, Franco Baresi, the captain of AC Milan, the organizer of one of the greatest defensive units club football has ever seen, a man who reads the game 3 seconds before everyone else on the pitch. He looks calm, the way only a man who has seen everything and survived everything can look calm. Alessandro Costacurta, Baresi's centre-back partner, a man described by Fabio Cannavaro as the best defender with whom he had ever played. And then Roberto Baggio, the tournament's leading scorer, the man who has refused, repeatedly and impossibly, to let Italy go home. He looks determined, the way a man looks when he has unfinished business. And across from all of them, standing in the centre circle, wearing the blue and white of Argentina, Diego Maradona, the captain, the leader, the man carrying the hopes of 40 million Argentines who watched him get sent home in real life and have spent 30 years wondering what might have been. The referee places the ball on the centre spot. Both sets of players take their positions. The stadium holds its breath. Italy kick off. And the match immediately becomes exactly what everyone feared it would be. Chess. Pure, suffocating, tactical chess. Neither side is willing to take a risk. Neither side is willing to give the other an inch of space, a second of time, a single moment of carelessness. This match is being fought for in the spaces nobody is watching. And then, 27th minute, everything changes. Maradona collects the ball nearly 40 yards from goal. Too far out. No angle. 2 Italian midfielders already moving to close him down. Batistuta checks toward him a run so subtle that the Italian defence barely registers it. Quick 1-2. Suddenly the picture looks completely different. Maradona is through, one-on-one with Pagliuca. The goalkeeper rushes out, trying to make himself big, trying to narrow the angle, trying to force a mistake from a man who does not make mistakes in moments like this. Maradona stays calm. Of course he does. One touch to set himself. One finish. 1-0 Argentina. The stadium detonates. And Maradona runs, not toward his teammates, not toward the bench, toward the camera. He points at the Argentine crest on his chest. He points at the sky. And then he points outward, at everyone watching, at every critic and journalist and former player, and every single voice that spent the last 3 years insisting Diego Maradona was finished. He is 6 goals into a World Cup semi-final. The replay tells the full story. Batistuta's awareness, the run, the timing, the intelligence to create the space without demanding the ball. Maradona's composure, the 1-2, the burst of pace, the finish so clean it looked inevitable. It was not lucky, it was not fortunate, it was perfect. For the rest of the half, Italy absorb. They reorganise, they tighten, they give Argentina nothing else. The referee blows for halftime. Argentina lead 1-0. But here is the thing nobody in that stadium has forgotten. Italy still have Roberto Baggio, and Roberto Baggio, as this entire tournament has proven, only needs one moment, one touch, one chance, 1 second of carelessness from an Argentine defender, and this match starts all over again. The second half begins, and immediately the match shifts. Italy come out of that dressing room with something different in their eyes, deeper urgency, sharper intent, the quiet acceptance that sitting back and absorbing is no longer an option. They push forward. Argentina sit deeper in response, protecting the lead, protecting the shape, protecting the one goal that stands between them and a World Cup final. The pressure builds slowly, then less slowly. Then, 68th minute, Italy win a free kick. Dangerous territory, 25 yards out, central. The kind of position that makes goalkeepers recalculate and defenders hold their breath. The wall forms. Goycochea sets himself, and standing over the ball, Roberto Baggio, the Divine Ponytail. The man who has saved Italy from elimination more times in this tournament than anyone can comfortably count. The stadium falls completely silent. Not the polite silence of respect. The terrified silence of people who know what this man is capable of from exactly this distance. Baggio begins his run-up. He strikes it. The ball curls over the wall, bending late, dropping perfectly, and disappears into the top corner. Goycochea gets nowhere near it. 1-1. The Italian bench erupts, and on the pitch Baggio celebrates by sliding on his knees. This match has come fully, completely alive. Maradona versus Baggio, 1 goal each. 2 of the greatest players in the history of the game, and neither one willing to be the footnote in the other's story. The final 20 minutes begin, and every single moment inside that stadium carries the weight of consequence. Every pass, every tackle, every misplaced touch, every half second of hesitation. One mistake from anyone, anywhere on the pitch, and a place in the World Cup final is gone. Then, the 85th minute, Paolo Maldini receives the ball near the touchline. He turns to shield it, buying time and keeping possession, doing what great defenders do when the clock is their ally. Maradona pounces. He steals possession so cleanly that for a moment Maldini doesn't even react, because it happens faster than the eye can fully process. Maradona accelerates toward goal from the right wing. The Italian defenders retreat, backing away, buying time. The crowd rises. Maradona enters the box. Every person in the stadium expects him to shoot. Instead, one quick glance, one perfect square ball to Fernando Redondo. Redondo takes one touch and buries it. 2-1 Argentina. Maradona has 1 goal, 1 assist and another masterclass. Italy throw everyone forward. Baggio searches desperately for one final miracle. The kind he has produced so many times already in this tournament that even the most cynical football fan has started to believe he might actually be divine. It does not come. The referee blows the final whistle. Argentina are through to the World Cup final. 6 matches, 6 wins. Maradona 6 goals, 5 assists. Argentina are going to the World Cup final. Now the question everyone is asking, who awaits them? Brazil, surely. The tournament favourites. The team that would go on to win the whole thing in real life. The Netherlands, possibly. Deep, talented, capable of beating anyone on their day. One of football's giants, inevitably, except no. The United States of America have reached the World Cup final. On home soil. In front of their own people. In a country that was still learning the rules of the game they were hosting. The hosts have stunned the entire world. They survived a group containing Brazil. They defeated Nigeria on penalties. They beat Saudi Arabia. And then, in the match nobody predicted, in the result that made every football journalist on earth read the scoreline twice, they shocked the Netherlands. The impossible has happened. The United States of America are 90 minutes away from becoming world champions, on their own soil, in front of their own people, in a country that 4 years ago could not have told you how many players were on a football pitch. They have beaten every team placed in front of them. They have silenced every critic who laughed at their inclusion. They have done the impossible repeatedly, and now they stand here, one match from immortality. Standing between them and that moment, one man. Diego Armando Maradona. The final begins. Argentina kick off. And immediately the Americans come alive. Sharp. Energetic. Feeding off 60,000 people who have waited their entire lives for a moment exactly like this one. The home crowd senses history. They are loud. They are believing. They are carrying their team forward on pure collective will. But look at Maradona. He looks different, not nervous, not emotional, not caught up in the occasion the way everyone else inside this stadium is caught up in it. Focused, determined, locked in, the way a man looks when he has spent 30 years working toward a single moment and can finally see it directly in front of him. 35th minute. Maradona receives possession from a throw-in on the right wing. 2 American players close him down simultaneously. A coordinated press designed and drilled specifically to stop exactly this. He beats the first, then the second. The stadium gasps with the involuntary sound a crowd makes when it witnesses something it cannot fully explain. Maradona drives toward the penalty area. Batistuta reads the run before the pass is even played. The pass is perfect. Batistuta finishes. 1-0 Argentina. The stadium falls silent. 60,000 Americans standing completely still, the dream momentarily punctured, the noise replaced by the wild celebrations of several thousand Argentine supporters in the far corner of the stadium. The captain has delivered. Again, half-time. Argentina lead 1-0. One half of football remaining. One half between Diego Maradona and the second World Cup winner's medal of his career. The United States restart the second half with everything they have left. Pride, desperation, the knowledge that their country is watching, that their children are watching, that this moment, win or lose, will define American football for a generation. It is not enough. 52nd minute. Maradona receives the ball near the edge of the area. One turn, sharp, sudden and no telegraphing. One touch to set himself, one shot. 2-0 Argentina. The captain celebrates. He knows. You can see it in his face. Not arrogance, not relief, certainty. The Americans continue fighting because that is what this team does. That is who they are. They do not stop. They do not surrender. They play until the referee ends it. But Argentina are in complete control now, moving the ball with the ease of a team that has nothing left to prove and everything left to enjoy. Then another moment of brilliance. Maradona splits the defense with a pass so precise it looks less like a football move and more like a mathematical equation being solved in real time. Basualdo races through, finishes calmly, 3-0. Argentina can almost touch the trophy, but Maradona is not finished. Of course he is not finished. 74th minute. He picks the ball up inside his own half and what follows, what happens in the next 12 seconds of football, will be replayed for as long as the game is played. Past one player, past two, past 3, past 4. The crowd stands, all of it, Argentine and American alike, because what they are watching has moved beyond sport into something else entirely. Maradona keeps going, into the penalty area, still running, still dancing, still at 33 years old in the 74th minute of a World Cup final, doing things that have no right being physically possible. One final touch. The goalkeeper beaten, 4-0. The stadium does not know how to react. So it does the only thing it can. It roars. Not for Argentina, not against the United States. For him. For what they have just witnessed. The greatest goal of the tournament. Possibly the greatest goal of his career. A run that begins inside his own half and ends with the World Cup already decided. And 60,000 people on their feet, applauding a man playing for the other team. The match is over. The dream is complete. The referee blows the final whistle. Argentina are world champions. Again, Maradona finds the trophy before the trophy finds him. He lifts it above his head, both hands, arms fully extended, face turned upward, and holds it there. The cameras cannot look away. Nobody can look away. 7 matches, 7 wins, 8 goals, 7 assists. Numbers that belong in fiction, produced in reality by a 33-year-old man who arrived at this tournament having been written off by the entire football world. 1 year before this final, many believed his career was over. 1 year later, he stands on the roof of the football world champion, again. And perhaps now, beyond argument, beyond debate, beyond the noise of every comparison and every counterclaim and every alternative name that has ever been placed alongside his, the greatest footballer who ever lived. But this is where we leave 1994 because history has more what-ifs. Football has more stolen moments, more questions that were never answered, more tournaments where one decision, one twist of fate, one mysterious night in a hotel room changed everything. The year was 1998, the country France, the occasion World Cup final. It was Zidane versus Ronaldo, except on the morning of the final, Ronaldo suffered a mysterious seizure in his hotel room. He was rushed to hospital, he was cleared to play, and then he played, and Brazil lost 3-0. Nobody has ever fully agreed on what actually happened that night. What if Ronaldo was never affected? What if Brazil's potential greatest player ever arrived at that final completely fit, completely himself, and faced the great Zinedine Zidane at full strength? Would Brazil have retained the World Cup, or would history still belong to France? We find out in the next episode.